right, welcome back everyone, welcome back to another week, another edition here of the PiGosaur Cup, PiGosaur Cup number 55, your weekly dose of PiGosaur Cup action. Here we go, we are back with something a little bit different, with a replay cast, of the PiGosaur Cup from 2 weeks ago. Fun fact, I believe the next PiGosaur Cup is number 58, no sorry, 57. We did cast 56 last week, of course, and we were waiting for replays for 55. They were a little bit delayed, but we did finally acquire them. Again, there's 1 week of PiGosaur Cup which we did miss, and we're here to catch up. We're here to catch up on that PiGosaur Cup action. I do apologize. Originally our schedule was for Wardy TV Monday to cover that today. That's from this Monday's or this week's tournaments, but unfortunately we don't have the replays yet, so we'll most likely get them over the next couple of days. So we'll probably be shifting up our schedule, moving that cast around, and most likely covering the Wardy TV Monday from this week over the weekend. It's most likely going to be over the weekend instead, so just as a heads up, that is the current plan, assuming we don't get them for tonight's broadcast. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with those Wardy replays. Otherwise, we are going to be jumping into our series. We're going to be jumping into our PVT here, our first series of the broadcast. Let's go. Let's go. So jump into game one. It's going to be on Winter's Madness. Now, the best thing about PiGosaur Cup is that they actually feature a completely fresh map pool of TLMC 21 maps, completely fresh. Unlike our tournament, for example, or Wardy's tournament, where we only incorporate 4 maps, we only have 4 of the new TLMC maps, and we have the rest of it as the old map pool. Here, completely TLMC maps for PiGosaur Cups. Game 1 is going to be on Winter Madness. Let's go. Let's go. There's a lot to get into here. Let's jump into our first game. This is going to be a semifinals match between MaxPax and Percival. Let's go. Let us go. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner of Winter Madness, we have the red Protoss player. The red Protoss, we have the Danish Protoss representing Sidestorm Gaming. It is MaxPax. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the blue Terran player, the blue Terran himself. It is Percival. We go. So we are jumping into our PVT, and welcome one and all to Winter Madness. I love the snow effect. I love the snow effect, Pappy. Let's go, let's go. But this is a very large map in the map pool. It is relatively easy to secure yourself on 3 and 4 bases, but specifically in this matchup, that is less of an issue. I mean, kind of. Again, when it comes to TVP, we've been seeing a lot of the shift in the meta here in regards to longer macro games and the end of all-ins, especially on a large map like Winter Madness. I would say the all-ins are not as favored on this map, so we'll see how Percival will approach this. We'll see if he can actually embrace a later game. For now, double gas opener, faster factory out of Percival, going into a delayed CC, and he's going for a more tech heavy start. Once again though, like, I do feel like all-ins are going to be less favorable in this map, so we might be seeing Percival play out and be more defensive coming into the mid game. From the side of MaxPax, he has options. He does have options here, as for now the probe does go in. The probe will confirm that there is no CC. Now pulls away. We'll be looking to delay the CC for as long as possible. We know that there's no command center, and it's going to be on MaxPax to confirm. Yeah, pokes back in, pulls back down. Did not go further into the mineral line, or did not go into the base. As the Reaper is on the way. Here comes that factory. Back at home at MaxPax, he is going to be setting up. Once again, we do have a ramp coming in between the natural and the third base, but it's a relatively narrow ramp, and you of course have the high ground elevation for your advantage. We have a narrow choke point here on the right hand side. We do have a harassment angle here on the right as well. For the most part, you can situate your army here to defend and to deflect, to shut down any aggression, and freely expand on the right, which also has a very narrow choke point as well. It's also quite close rush distance wise to your third base, so the bases themselves are relatively condensed, they're relatively close together. You can wall up, you can wall off, you can build up into 4 bases. Typically, this is more applicable to other matchups like ZVP and to TVZ as well. In this matchup here, typically the Protoss player will be gaining map control. They can freely expand however they so choose, and it's going to be more on the Terran player to turtle up instead, if we were to go into a longer macro game. For now, the Reaper does poke in, gets 1 perp so far. Not bad. It's 1 worker, pulls away. When it comes to the 1-1-1, we're going for a mine drop, alongside Marines as well. There is a style here that was popularized quite some time ago where you can go for a wind mine drop with a handful of Marines. The goal would be for the wind mine to zone and for the Marines to get some economic damage done instead. We'll see if that's the case here. We'll see how many Marines we build up into as the initial adept has arrived. But now MaxPax is poking in. It's going to be a Twilight Council open out of MaxPax, going into Blink. Everything looking standard from our Protoss player. And here comes our drop. As you can see here, only one Widowmine. Only one Widowmine, and this should be a Widowmine alongside a plethora of Marines, all coming together. As we mentioned before, the goal of the Widowmine is not for economic damage. The Widowmine zones away the gateway units, and the Marines, they focus on the workers instead. That's if this is the kind of move we're going for. CC's being floated over. MaxPax, we'll see how safe he's going to be so far, getting up to 2 gates. So 2 gates set up here. Did I say 2? We're getting up to 3. So 3-gate blink. Very safe play here by MaxPax. Here comes the drop. Here come the Marines. Again, it's going to be 6 Marines alongside the Widowmine. Oh. As we shuffle our units around. With this Percival, he will confirm the tech, ideally. And also gets a read on what MaxPax is up to. So he does drop into the mineral line. Shield batteries in position. Probes ideally going to be focused down. And the Widowmine shot. Oh! Ooh, does connect on one worker. He gets baited out. And with that, MaxPax will hold. There's the NG overcharge. Marines are focused down. Widowmine as well. And MaxPax, he shuts down the aggression at the same time. Adept gets across the map. 2 SCVs, not bad. Getting 2 SCVs and does shade away. Ooh, as Percival, he's just rallying. Oh, my apologies. I didn't notice the Viking earlier, so I should have taken note of that. Vikings and tanks are just rallying everything across the map. This is meant to kill. This is meant to kill. This is meant to break MaxPax. Did preserve those Marines. Tanks moving in. And we're getting within range of the pylon, but there's a backup pylon behind this. The robot will stay powered. Depowers the gateway at least. Depowers the shield battery. Moving within range. There's a chrono boost. The immortal will pop out. And MaxPax should hold. Yeah, blinks in, dives on the tank. Tank does go down. It's going to get surrounded, but remember, these are the Marines. Will lose 1 Stalker, but does get the medevac. 2 Stalkers go down. Ooh, blink is done. The Immortal has arrived, and MaxPax, he holds onto the ramp. Oof, will lose another Stalker. And remember, Percival, he's rallying. Like this is meant to kill. This is meant to end the game. But it takes so much longer to get across the map here in Winter Madness. It takes so much longer. And we're about to have a second Immortal, or at least it's on the way. Gateway does full. And Percival, he's not really threatening anything. Sure, he's going to get a pylon. Pylon's going to go down. Second tank is on the way. Okay. There's the second Immortal. And now he's going in. He's going in for the kill. Takes on the Viking. Blinks on in. Takes on the tank. Takes down both tanks even. Both tanks go down, and Percival, the all-in, has failed. It's going to be cleaned up. Again, this is a big investment from Percival. He'll lose everything. Oof, losing the Viking as well. And we have to take stock here. MaxPax, he still is up in workers. Now, at least MaxPax doesn't have a third base. That is the one saving grace here for Percival, is the third base is delayed. But again, that was how many tanks thrown away? 3 tanks, 3 Vikings. Like, this is a big blow, a big loss of units here for Percival. He is vulnerable to a counterattack. He's vulnerable. Army has moved out across the map. Do we have any high ground vision? The answer is, ooh, we're about to. How many gates? 4. 4 gate blink Stalker. Ay. MaxPax is getting ready to dive into the main base. There's going to be 1 tank to defend. There's 2 Marines so far. There's not much in the main. Here he comes. Popping in 4 Stalkers at a time. Heading in with the Immortal as well. He's going for the tank. He gets 1. He gets 1 tank, and he'll get the second tank as well. Nice target firing. Mass repair on the tank. We'll try to keep it alive, but no. Yeah, he blinks in, and with that, MaxPax, he's done it. He has broken the main base. There's nothing here. There's 4 vanilla Marines. No stim, no combat shields. Just a handful of Marines. The boys are being pulled. Percival getting desperate. Nice save on the Immortal. 1 tank on the low ground. Tank shot goes up, and we just avoid the tank. And MaxPax, he just avoids the tank. He does pull away. Denies stim. GG gets called, and MaxPax takes game number 1. GG. Whew. GG well played. Bold move for Percival to go for the 2 base all in, to go for the tank Viking rally across the map. This is something that has been popular in recent times. This is a build that Clem has been really fond of, actually. Clem has been really fond of this. and being incorporated in this a lot, and we've actually seen Clem beat MaxPax with this build as well. But as we try to emphasize at the start of the series, this is a larger map, longer resistance by ground. There's more defensive features for MaxPax, so it's easier to defend, and as a result, like, he shut it down relatively handily. I mean, the tanks that were getting within range of the first pylon, they were looking to depower the robo, but MaxPax was ready ahead of time. He already had a second robo, he was already keeping the robo powered, and likewise one for a safe build as well, going into 3 gate, not 2 gate. GG. GG, well played with that. MaxPax does take the game, and now we're loading into game number 2, loading into Throne of Dunes. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Throne of the Dunes, we have the Danish Protoss player. We have the red Protoss representing Sidestorm Gaming. It is MaxPax. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the blue Terran down in the series. So we'll see if you can bounce back. It is Percival. Here we go. So loading into game 2, Throne of the Dunes is another large map of the map pool, long rush distance by ground, known for, I would say, typically longer games. But I mean, hey, I just said that about Winter Madness, and we saw Percival attempt an all-in on that map. I should also emphasize that a lot of these maps players are unfamiliar with, right? Like, sure, we've been trying to feature them as much as we can, we've been trying to force players to play on them as much as we can, but it's still a finite amount compared to the ladder, right? Which is their main practice, which is kind of their main bread and butter. So again, there are certain aspects of maps that they're less familiar with, and we do see that between all these players. Or can be quite apparent at times. That inexperience does come into play. As this time, single gas, ranks expand, economic build here by Percival. Ooh, does go for the eBay block. Okay, so comes in with the block. That means that he may still go for the factory before command center, just because he can't afford a CC because of the eBay, or due to the eBay. As MaxPax, he's forced to take the unnatural natural. Percival, he is in position at the linear third. Let's go. He's here, he's ready. Yeah, MaxPax, he doubled back. He wants to expand, Pappy. Very late. Almost at 600 minerals. Ay, ay, ay. So a very disruptive start here for MaxPax. And Percival, he does hold on to his resources and does get the CC. So cancels the eBay, gets the refund, and gets a command center, and does go for an economic start. So far, so good. I would say this is a better start for Percival. Now, the downside of going for the CC instead of the factory means that he has delayed Hellions, which means he can't really go for Hellion Harass to try to delay mining or disrupt the economy and get some economic damage, right? That's just not as much of an option here. As the Reaper does poke in. Pokes in, pulls away. The initial Zealot does race across the map, and we'll see if he can get an SCV kill. Swipes away. Marines, they stutter step back. 2 stutter. And does disrupt some mining. Adept shades into the mineral line, gets 1 SCV, not bad. Behind this, we are going into Twilight Council, once again into Blink. Whenever they expect any deviation here from MaxPax, as he gets a second SCV. Ooh, and a Marine. Yeah, 2 SCVs, a Marine. Second Adept has arrived. He does shade away, though, into the main base. Getting more damage. Oh, not quite. Gets 1 more SCV, 3 in total. Brutal damage. Not like this, man. Not like this. And with that, MaxPax is making up for his otherwise delayed expansion. He's making up for it. Here comes a 3rd gateway. So once again, 3-gate blink into a robo. Once again, safe build here by MaxPax. We did mention previously that because of his unnatural natural, because of his 3rd base location, he is spread thin between his 2 bases when it comes to defending, when it comes to denying Hellion run-bys. But this wasn't a big commitment here from Percival. It wasn't a big commitment. He rotates. And it's going to be shut down. Percival was being active. Active, rotating around. Once again, we do see Percival going for a tank, but this time Liberator supports, no Vikings. The Cyclone does get the lock on, does get one of the Stalkers. Nicely done. Blink is not yet complete. Yeah, no Blink. Stalker pulls away. No shield battery here in the main base. Stalker does pull away in time, though. Here comes the Warp In, and with help of the Warp In, MaxPax he can make a stand. We'll still lose 5 probes. Nice target find here out of Percival, getting as much damage as he can against one more Stalker. Percival, he will lose everything, but again, he will intensely focus on as many probes as possible, getting 9 probes in the main. Not bad. Not bad at all. Nice damage out of Percival. Behind this, he's building up his tanks. Yes, Percival, he is vulnerable, but he's trying to build up a defense. But here comes a counterattack. MaxPax, he is so quick to counterattack every time. He's like, you know what? Sure, you dealt all this damage, but what do you have at home to defend? He's got 2 tanks. Links in. Can he get 1? Mass repair. Repair is up. Barely in time. Whew, tank does survive. Percival, he's holding on for now. We have more Stalkers rallying across the map, though. It's not over. And the low ground is exposed. Tank does reposition. 1 Stalker goes down. Miscontrol out of MaxPax. Tank will siege. MaxPax going for the main tank. Stalkers, they rotate over towards the main. And what's the plan? Where are we headed? He's diving into the main base once again. He's going for the tank. But now there's a 3rd tank. There might just be too many. Percival, he will lose 1. He'll lose the other. Late repairs. Yeah, later repairs out of Percival. Both tanks go down. It's messy here from MaxPax, but he does get 2 tanks. Now, this time he doesn't end the game, right? Like, if we were here in Winter Madness, for example, like, this did snowball out of control, 2 down both tanks early, and just snowball out of control from there. Here, what's important about the snipes from MaxPax is that because he just killed 2 tanks, it means that Percival, his eventual breakout is going to be that much weaker, right? He has less tanks to work with, he has a weaker defensive position, and a weaker attack as well. So MaxPax, he can freely expand, and he's relatively safe against a counterattack. Percival getting a 3rd CC. MaxPax looking for another dive. Most Stalkers are rallying once again. Is that recall? You can see the observer here from MaxPax checking for the tanks. Does hold both of them. And MaxPax with his reinforcements, he might be able to break one of these positions, but nah, he won't be able to. By the time he gets across the map, Stim will be done. And with Stim, then you can no longer punish, right? Then whenever MaxPax tries to blink forward, then we can see a Stim to punish that blink. So this is kind of like the big power spike for Percival, where now he should be safe against this kind of Stalker aggression. He was vulnerable up until this point. Keen eyes out of Percival. At this point, MaxPax, the goal should just be to contain. Didn't notice, but we have a Dark Shrine behind this, so DT is going to be waddling in. That is dangerous here. Yes, scans are a thing, but scans are a thing, but if Percival mules a little bit too hard, speaking of, he just muled. Just muled the natural. DT into the main base. Main army's pushing in. And we have MaxPax here to delay, to engage. There's a first Stim. Does force out a Stim. Dark Templar into the bases. There's a first scan in the main. But there's no second scan. Yeah, no second scan. SCVs are going down. Another DT in the main base. And I mean, there's just no second scan. I mean, oh, there it is. Oh, the 3rd CC. True. 3rd CC. One more scan pops up. That's going to be 11 SCV kills. And with that, Percival, he does hold on. Again, shout out to that 3rd command center, otherwise he would not have had a scan. Percival's pushing, and as he moves out, MaxPax once again, another counterattack, another run by. Now, he does miss the main army, true. MaxPax, he misses the main army moving out. We could end up in a weird base trade. MaxPax, he doesn't have a recall yet. Let's take it in. Also try to disrupt. Results are into the natural. The main army's pushing in. And there's one Colossus. MaxPax, he is supply blocked. And brutal supply block here. Pushing into 2 tanks. But again, imagine this with 4 tanks. Like, I mean, that could be game if there were 2 more tanks with this army. But remember, they got sniped earlier, which meant that this push was weaker. We have a DT waddling in. Diving the army. Getting one, getting both tanks. Oh, that was a lot of Stalkers going down. Once again, nice target firing at a Percival. Very nice target firing. Fighting as best he could, but economically, he's far behind. He's on 24 SCVs. The mules, they help, but not that much. Every time we pan over, we got the boys down there. We got the... And from here, we're progressing. Right, the game does progress into the mid game. Now MaxPax is taking his 4th base. MaxPax now has map control, so we can look to max out. First of all, though, he does want to back off. He's getting a 2nd starport, Mass Viking. He's up against 2 Colossus and soon to be Storm. First of all, moving in. Oh, does move in. Does try to move in here, but so far, good angle here from MaxPax. Colossus swipes going up, Marines are being punished. And Percival, we just cannot engage, not into this kind of army.
We embrace the glory of battle.
Prism does get across the map. Yeah, as Percival, this one he's committed, but now there are Storms. Yeah, Storm is done. Storm is ready. Vikings, they try to move in. They do zone away the Colossus at least. But there's still plenty of Storms. And remember, there's no Ghost. There's no Ghost with the main army at least. Ghost production has begun back at home. But 0 Ghost currently. There's no Ghost. There's no Ghost. Oh, he gets caught down. Yeah, brutal Storms. However, the army gets caught, and MaxPax is snowballing out of control. From here, he can just rush across the map. Has that lead. He's actually chasing the medevac. Oh, good. A little bit awkward. Colossus from the high ground. Just does chase Percival down. And MaxPax, at this point, he can max out. He has a bit of a bank to work with. Warping in more High Templar. This time there are some Ghosts, there's potential for EMPs. And we'll see how MaxPax moves in. Storm's coming in. Oh, going for the feedbacks actually, okay. Feedbacks oh my god, every single Ghost. The Ghosts get feedbacked. The Vikings are still a bit of an issue here. They will get 1 Colossus. And 1 Colossus goes down, but the Storms, they zone away the ground army. There's just not much on the ground. And we still have more Storms. Yeah, Storm left. Oh, Jesus. Storm lands. Vikings likewise forced to land as well. Boys are being pulled. Percival getting desperate. Nice kiting. There's a final storm. Final storm for MaxPax. Here come the reinforcements. There's no War Prison with this, so reinforcements are delayed. But GG gets called. MaxPax, he breaks the defensive line, and MaxPax will take the series 2-0. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Percival, this was a better showing from him here in game 2. I mean, again, game 1 he went for a failed 2-base all-in, and it was just a very rough aftermath after they failed all-in. But here in game 2 we had more of a back and forth. Percival, he had some nice moments when he was able to get into the main base, able to get some economic damage. It was brutal that he did lose his tanks, and we didn't mention that, right? Like, a world where he didn't lose those tanks, like, his push is that much stronger, and maybe he breaks the natural. Maybe. But again, his move-outs were that much weaker, and for the most part, MaxPax, he was looking quite comfortable, aside from the early economic damage, but again, he was able to do some counter damage to recover. GG. GG, well played. With that, MaxPax does take the series, and with that, MaxPax does advance on to the grand finals. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the lower semifinals to get into, but we do have the grand finals ready for us here. It is going to be MaxPax advancing on to face off against ByuN in the grand finals in another Terran versus Protoss matchup. Let's go. Let us go. So we have another TVP. ByuN, of course, he has a certain style to him. We bring this up all the time, but he is the most passive, the most defensive Terran player out there. Amongst the pros, I should mention, like amongst players like Bunny, Maru, Kyor, Clem, Ryung, amongst Gumiho, amongst all the other Terrans, Percival as well. Like, he is the most passive, he's the most defensive, specifically in TVP. I should emphasize that as well, because he is much more aggressive in the other matchups. And fun fact, I mean, now the other Terran players are following suit. A lot of the other Terrans, I mean, you just saw it from Percival in that last game, where a lot more of the Terran players are kind of building up towards that mid game more often than not nowadays. Previously, we saw a lot of all-ins, a lot of 2-base all-ins, a lot of proxies as well. We saw a lot of hyper aggression that has died out over the past 2 months. Ever since latest patch, basically. Ever since latest patch, all-ins have been weaker, and we have seen longer games. And ByuN was like, see, I told you guys. Yeah. Let's go. Here we go. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Winter Madness, we have the Danish Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing Sidestorm Gaming. It is MaxPax. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the red Terran representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. Here we go. And we'll see how ByuN will handle himself here, especially in the TLMC 21 map pool. There's a lot of large maps, right? You saw Winter Madness, you saw Throne of the Dunes, there's Celestial Enclave, there's White Rabbit, there's Title Citadel. There are so many large maps in the TLMC 21 map pool. So we're going to be seeing ByuN kind of head in that direction, right? Be more turtley, be more defensive, and build up towards longer games. That's what I'm expecting out of ByuN for the most part, depending on the maps. And I'm going to lean towards that here in Winter Madness. First things first, though, double gas opener, more tech heavy start here, going for a faster factory. This can lead into Reactor Reaper Hellion. This can lead into early Cyclones. This can lead into early 111. We'll keep an eye on ByuN. And so will MaxPax. MaxPax does poke in. Pokes in. He has yet to confirm, as he doesn't want to get locked into the base, doesn't want to lose the probe. Factory has been thrown down, and MaxPax does pull away. Interesting. He does pull away. I was looking at the rally here, so ByuN is checking up for a proxy on the right hand side, making sure everything's on the up and up. So he will scout nearby. And again, we'll see if he goes for earlier add-ons. an earlier setup. He's invested into a second Reaper. So already being a little bit more aggressive here, getting a second Reaper, getting his Hellion, having more of a presence early on. And MaxPax is opening up Twilight Council. And again, we don't really expect MaxPax to deviate from this at all in this series. I mean, we saw nothing but 3-gate blink out of MaxPax in the last series against Percival. We're expecting the same thing here. I will say on larger and even more defensive maps, it's more viable to open up Stargate. So we could see MaxPax mix in some Stargate play in this series. But that's also very map dependent. As ByuN is getting into a third Reaper. Okay, third Reaper, second Hellion, so triple Reaper, double Hellion here for ByuN. He does move out. The goal here is for economic damage. It's to either have everything rush into the natural or Reapers into the main base and Hellions into the natural at the same time to get some damage. Otherwise, this won't be worth it. Like, this is a big investment here for ByuN early on. And this army, these units do not scale well into a longer game. Pokes in. Pokes in. There's a shield battery. You can see MaxPax is ready for the Reapers. ByuN, he commits. Yeah, commits into the main. One Reaper goes down, a Hellion goes down, and MaxPax he holds. Yeah, MaxPax does hold on. He will lose one adept in the process. But ByuN is deflected. And behind this, we were curious what the double gas was going to lead into the faster starport into Cloak Banshee. Now, if you've been watching recently, you'll know that Cloak Banshee has fallen out of favor in recent times. The reason why we see less Cloak Banshee is because nowadays it is very common and very standard for the Protoss player to open up Robo on 2 bases. In the past, earlier this year, that wasn't the case. Ooh, as the adept barely goes down. Reaper survives. On 1 HP. On 3. On 3 HP. But as you can see here, the robe is done. The robe is done, which means we should have an observer. Ooh, prism first. But there is potential here for detection. He does have the initial building structure for that. So we'll see what ByuN can get done. We'll see if we can catch MaxPax out of position with those Banshees. As MaxPax did go... Okay, 3. Jesus. For a moment there, I thought there were 2 gateways at the natural. I was like, oh god. 3-gate blink. 3-gate blink into the prism instead of the observer first. So he's rushing across the map to be hyper aggressive. As he moves out, Banshee's moving in. Now there is an observer on the way, and there are some defensive stalkers here. We'll see what ByuN can get done. Cloak is complete and is headed into the main. At the same time, MaxPax is going for the counterattack. There's 1 tank in the natural, 1 tank in the main base. ByuN is nicely spread. Banshee does hit the main. And so far, getting 1, getting 2, getting 3. 2 so far. Catching out 2 probes. At the same time, MaxPax dives into the mineral line. He does get 2 SCVs himself. That's going to be 4 probe kills. The Banshee does fall. 5 probes go down. This is decent damage by ByuN. It's decent. And more importantly, he deflects the Stalkers. Deflects the Wing Stalkers. He is secure here. He does have a second tank in the main. Spreading himself thin, but, you know, nice. He defended here on 2 bases. It's well spread out. And we can see MaxPax this time not going into Colossus, going into Storm first. Okay. Does rush into Storm. Second Banshee making its way across the map. MaxPax still sharking around. But we have a back and forth. I'll say the initial Reaper Hellion for ByuN didn't really get much damage done. The Banshee helped make up for that. Ooh. Another 2 SCVs, that's 4 in total. So 4 SCV kills. This time the Banshee is shut down completely. Ooh, and this is where MaxPax does take a lead here. With the first Banshee got 5 probes, second Banshee got 0 probes. So 0 damage done across the map. ByuN here attempts to move out. MaxPax shouldn't lose any Stalkers here. Gets a Marine. So MaxPax pulls away. So if I get 2 Marines in, does he get the tank? Oh no! The tank goes down as well. ByuN has to get the hell out of here. Ooh, miss rally. Raw positioning for ByuN. Storm is done, by the way. Storm is complete. MaxPax, he will. No, the miss rally. Get out of here. You see MaxPax warping in behind the army. Charge is complete. And ByuN, he has to get the hell out of here. If he pushed up the ramp, he would have lost everything due to the storm and the surround. MaxPax going for the Zealot drop. This time the tanks are in position at the third base. So SCVs can go down. And they will. Getting 4 CV kills. Stalkers, they push forward. Tanks are in position. Getting 1. Getting 1 Stalker. Prism gets sniped. That's still going to be 6 SCV kills. Thankfully, ByuN, he doesn't abandon the tanks. He's with them. Get the second Rebel on the way. Bay on the way for MaxPax, getting his 4th base. What's important here is that ByuN, he's bleeding out SCVs. He's losing units. ByuN, he's contained on his initial 2 and 3 bases, while MaxPax is freely mining, freely expanding, freely taking up. And kind of this is the big strength of Protoss on larger maps specifically, is that they have the freedom to do this, to have map control and to be greedy. Ooh, nice mine shot. Very nice mine shot. High Templar gets sniped. Better pickup here by ByuN. Once again, Zealot drop into the mineral line. And remember, MaxPax, he has no intention of killing ByuN. Like, this is not about killing him. This is not about breaking him. It's about delaying this, delaying the third, right? Fight for the, or make him fight for the third base. Prism goes down. That's the second Prism being thrown away. This was not really worth it here for MaxPax. Does get some SCVs, but this was expensive. Oh, that's a kill. Kill on the turret. 5 SCV kills for 4 Zealots and a War Prism. Say that was a better trade for ByuN. He finally gets his third base up. And MaxPax, again, he doesn't really care too much about that. He fought to delay the third, and he did. And behind this, he can get a 5th base. He can just build up into a 5th expansion. We'll see where MaxPax does expand. Behind this, building up more Colossus as well. I would say that the most valuable base here for MaxPax will be the forward gas flasher base, the forward high yield base, as that allows you to expand here towards the left as well. Yeah, he's going for it. Like, this is a very difficult expansion for ByuN to break. Again, like, the terrain here, like, there's so much high ground to make use of, and such a narrow choke point as well. Pushing and punishing this space is going to be so difficult for the aggressing player. And again, this allows you to protect the 4th base, of course, because it's behind the 5th, and also allows you to expand it next to it as well to the 6th base, which is also kind of protected by your 5th base as well, as it's further back. So safer 4th, a safer 6th base, and also high yield as well. So MaxPax is getting very comfortable, and ByuN, he will struggle. Now, both armies will max, but it's not about that. It's about ByuN establishing a 4th base and ByuN advancing from there. We can see MaxPax expanding, taking another expansion on the right-hand side this time. Not on the left. Spreading out his bases. Getting ready for run-bys. Counterattacks. And it's coming in. Going for the ghost. He gets 1. 1 ghost goes down. Nice EMP. Nice EMP on the main army. Storm on the Vikings. Vikings going to be reset. Storm, the flanking storm as well. Oh my god. Crazy flanking storm. With that, MaxPax, he pulls away. He does lose all of his Zealots. Most of his Stalkers. He's still got more storms. But he needs some kind of support for the army. He needs that buffer. Oh my god, a brutal storm. The storms are crazy. Oh god. The storms are crazy. GG gets called as ByuN, he bathes in the storms, and MaxPax, he will take game number 1. GG. Ay, ay, ay. GG, well played. Again, those storms are crazy, but as you mentioned, I would say Winter Madness is one of the more extreme maps just because of the bases, just because it's so easy to get up to 5 and 6 bases on Winter Madness, and you have the boosted economy thanks to the high yield gas geyser as well, right? It's like there are certain maps like this. The other one is Missing You Today, where it's very similar, where if you gain map control, you get a massive advantage with either a high yield gas base or high yield minerals as well. So you have that big boost and that big advantage as the Protoss player coming into the mid to late game, as they typically have map control compared to the Terran. So yeah, really brutal map here for ByuN. With that, MaxPax takes the first game. Now we're loading into game number 2. One of the more aggressive maps in the map pool. Let's go. Let's go. Going to be loading into 10,000 feet. 10,000 feet. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have our Danish Protoss player. The Danish Protoss, the blue Protoss representing Sidestorm Gaming. It is MaxPax. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the red Terran representing Shopify Rebellion. It is ByuN. Here we go. And 10,000 feet is one of the more aggressive maps in the map pool, shorter rush distance by ground, and more exposed bases as well. Specifically, I'm referring to the center expansion. So once we build up, once we get into the mid game, you can see, and even maxing out, ByuN can threaten the center base so much easier with tank lines, with tank positionings, and also as the Protoss player expands, they are spread out even further, as they do spread themselves thin towards the left and right hand sides of the map, making it more difficult to rotate to defend and more difficult to keep up with drop play, the more mobile composition that the Terran player would have. So this, I would say, is a better map for ByuN, once again going for the eBay block. Now, on the one hand, the things that I just mentioned were mainly in relation to MaxPax playing macro and playing standard. If he's more aggressive himself, then the turns can table, right? Kind of. There are ways to get into the main base. I would say the main base is difficult to aggress into, just because of how difficult it is to rotate between the third base and between the natural as well, just because of the terrain. The terrain just doesn't really lean to that, lean for that. So I would say that ByuN should be relatively safe against 4 Gateblink Stalker. So we'll see how MaxPax will adjust. Does he try to go 4 Gateblink anyway? Does he... No shot, we go Stargate here. No shot. We'll see. I remember when MaxPax was just saying one trick pony with his PvT cheese. Now competing against ByuN, guy grew so much. Yeah, I want to say that MaxPax, when he first like kind of was on people's radar, which was like maybe 2020, like he was known for being very cheesy. When did he become the best Protoss in Europe? Like 2022, maybe? He cemented himself? Like 2 years later? Like I want to say like since around 2022, like MaxPax has been the best in Europe. So it didn't take him long to rise through the ranks, but yeah, you're right. Like back in the day, he was known for being he was known for like having one build per matchup, right? Like and it was really like inefficient as well and really quirky. Like I remember a lot of the pros were like making fun of him or like poking fun, like this MaxPax guy on the ladder, like he's an animal. That was like 2019, 2020-ish era of StarCraft. Not too long ago in the grand scheme of things. We're getting old, man. We're getting old. People are really dismissive about his playstyle. Look at him now. Well, to be fair, he changed his playstyle, right? Like, people were dismissive for a reason. Like, back then, he wasn't very good. Like, yeah, he improved a lot. As behind this, we have 2 more gates on the way, 3 gate blink. is getting the 3-gate blink. Likewise, we'll be able to lay the CC, delays mining. Delays mining for a moment, throws away his first zealots, and ByuN, he will defend, he will deflect, and he's going for his own counterattack. Let's go. Does move out. Going for his own mine drop behind this, continuing his aggression, going for the Liberator as well. And we'll see what he can get done. Meanwhile, I believe it was once again 3-gate blink Stalker, so a very safe build here by MaxPax. He should have the tools to keep up with the drops. Comes down to the control. As the mine drop comes in, delays mining, Reaper towards the right hand side. Mines back into the main base. Blink is done. Very nice control. Dodges the mine shot. Cleans up the Widow Mine. Reaper is wreaking havoc though in the natural. 3 probes. Not bad. ByuN finding damage. Pulling MaxPax apart. Nice scan. Gets a Stalker. Stalker goes down. Denies more mining. Widow Mine drop back into the main base. And Max actually does react. Oh no! Oh my god, brutal connection. 3 probes. Nice damage here. MaxPax late reaction. Yeah, late to react. 3 more probe kills. That's going to be 5 worker kills in total. 5 probes, 2 adepts, 1 stalker. A better start for ByuN. And he's not done. He's not done. Here comes the Liberator. Liberator into the main. MaxPax diving into the main base as well. Does deny the add-ons. Nice damage. Takes down the reactors, takes down this tech lab. Nothing major. We spoke about it. We spoke about this earlier. How awkward it is to blink into the main base here on 10,000 feet. And MaxPax is forced out. He's forced out of the main. We see the attempted rotation, defends as well. Liberator into the natural. 4 more probes, 9 in total. It's getting out of hand. It's getting out of hand here. And again, we spoke about the strengths or the changes, the differences of 10,000 feet and how much more difficult it is to be aggressive with your stalkers. MaxPax is trying. The tank is in position. Ooh. MaxPax taking his own third. But this is a delayed third base because of all the economic damage. Ay, ay, ay. The Liberator towards the main. Observer gets caught. The second Liberator achieving quite a little bit less damage. Quite a bit less. I think maybe go 1 probe in the main. Not even. The first Liberator is still outside of the natural. And ByuN, he's being a little bit risky here. He's pushing out. He does catch the Observer. He's got his 2 tanks. But he doesn't have Stim. So he has to be careful. Liberator back in. Gets 1 probe. That also means there's no distraction. Stim is finally completed. Yeah, they can stim in. Yeah, he can and he will. The Stalkers are exposed. Max actually has to back off. Storm is not yet ready. And again, everything was delayed because of the early economic damage. A late Storm, late splash damage. Blinks in into Stimmeries. No! And he will lose everything. Every Stalker goes down. That was a brutal blink. GG gets called, and ByuN ties up the series 1-1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Again, a really rough game there for MaxPax. As we mentioned previously, the map was a big part of that, of course. It is very difficult to get counter damage done with your Blink Stalkers, specifically on 10,000 feet. As we were explaining, rotating between the natural and the third base is more difficult because of the map terrain. Likewise, the entrance into the main base when it comes to the Blink, when it comes to the cliff face is also smaller as well. So easier defense there out of ByuN, but also really nice aggression. To be able to pull apart the attention of MaxPax is not easy for his mine drops, his Liberator harass, and his Reaper harass as well. So it's a really strong start for ByuN and did snowball out of control into that sim timing. Again, everything was delayed from MaxPax because of all the economic damage. 9 probe kills, getting up to like 12 towards the end, bleeding out stalkers, and failing to do counter damage. GG. GG, well played. But again, I would say that 10,000 feet is probably the best TVP map in this tournament map pool. Like so like this is ByuN at his best. Is going to be on 10,000 feet. Let me just double check actually. What are the other maps? We have 10,000 feet, Andromeda. Maybe Andromeda is good for ByuN. I think so. I think that's good for Terran, for TVP. Celestial Enclave, which is massive map. Mothership, Old Republic, Satellite Years, Taito, Throne of Dunes, Wind of Madness. Yeah, I would say 10,000 feet. It's like that's probably the best map for Terran in this tournament map pool. And now we go back to the larger maps. Oh boy, gonna be loading into Celestial Enclave. I would assume the other two would be, as in for Terran and TVP, would be Satellite Years and Andromeda. Again, just because they're some of the smaller maps. But here we go. Here we go, spawning in the top right-hand corner of Celestial Enclave. We have the Danish Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing Psystorm Gaming. Being forced into a tied series. We'll see if he can bring it back. It is MaxPax. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Terran player. We have the red Terran representing Shopify. It is ByuN. We go. Early game harassment from ByuN was wild. It was impressive. It was very impressive. The early game aggression. But welcome to Satellite Years. This is a much larger map in the map pool. This might even be the largest map. I'd have to like get a ruler out and like compare this with Winter Madness and compare it to like White Rabbit and some of the other maps. But this map is huge. Not just that, we have I'm not so sure if I'm fond of this. CC first. CC first out of ByuN, rushing into the pocket base. So do you have a pocket base? Probe Scout confirms immediately. Oh no! MaxPax, he confirms the CC first, being as annoying as possible. Second ACV does move down to the low ground to help protect. But hyper greed out of ByuN. And of course, MaxPax confirms. Meanwhile, we have a safe third base here. So your initial like 2.5 base setup is very safe and secure. The fourth base, I would say as well. There is an entrance here towards the left. There's a wide ramp on the right. So your main army has to be focused and centralized here to defend. You have this alleyway here on the right hand side to rotate over towards that third base. Sorry, towards your natural as well. But for the most part, the 4 base setup is relatively secure. The 5th base is much more difficult to take. It's further away, it's on the low ground, it's either here in the center, here on the right-hand side. It's more accessible, more abusable. Ooh, as that's a kill in the SCV. Ay. MaxPax, calm down. Still does kill the SCV, he does delay the command center by a couple of seconds. And we'll see how aggressive MaxPax is going to be. Now, what I will say regarding blink aggression here is that similar to 10,000 feet, if the aggressing Protoss player, he's going for the proxy, this might actually be proxy Stargate. We'll see. Sniper is done. But the aggressing player, they're going to have a really hard time rotating between the pocket base and the natural. As you can see, they're so far apart. They're so far apart, and you have to blink twice to head on over. So it is going to be easier to defend on your initial 3 bases against Stalker aggression, which is why, as we assumed, Stargate. So proxy Stargate, not Twilight Council, into Oracles, into economic damage. And we'll see what MaxPax can get done. And again, this is all designed to punish the greed of ByuN. As ByuN, he's being even greedier. He's rushing into +1. Oh my god. So very fast eBay, fast +1 as well. We're being so greedy here, ByuN is, and his army's going to be lacking as a result. And we'll see if he can survive against the aggression of MaxPax. So Stargate into Twilight Council. We'll see if he goes into charge or blink. Adets is poking in, keeping the Marines busy. We don't mind Zulparo. Oh, can it catch the Oracle? That would be huge. Oracle moves in. Woodmine's in position. Up! The Might Shot goes off. Very nice connection as the Oracle goes down. Doesn't get a single kill of the natural. Ay, ay, ay. Whew. And ByuN holds. ByuN is holding on. Now we have Phoenixes on the way so far. A strong start for ByuN. He does not get punished. So far, so good. Woodmine drop is on the way. And he's holding on behind this. Phoenixes into Blink. Oh, it's interesting. Getting into Blink Stalkers. In the end, this Proxy's target wasn't worth it. It was not worth it for MaxPax. ByuN is boosting in. He's going for the mineral line. MaxPax, he should react in time. Oh my god, that was close. That was very close. As he does tank the Might Shots. And thanks to the Phoenix, this medevac should not escape. Oh, the retargeting. Oh my god. Very nice retargeting. Does boost away. Gets a Stalker. Delays mining time. But again, he should not escape. And he won't. So we have a bit of a back and forth here. Again, only killed one pro, but did delay mining time quite heavily. Likewise, your Oracle didn't do any damage. The Phoenix does somewhat make up for that. And how many gateways? Getting up to 4. So 4 gate blink, but behind this did go into a faster third. So economically, MaxPax is in a decent position. We have ByuN being very light on tanks, so he only gets one. Only one tank, then into Widowmine Marine, into an earlier stim timing. So earlier stim out of ByuN, earlier bio push. ByuN's gearing up. So they blink in, they punish. Getting a handful of SCVs. Sorry, a handful of Marines, I meant to say. Okay, 3 Marines so far. Stim is not yet ready. So far, MaxPax doing a great job here at containing ByuN. His third CC is on the way. His base should be secure. Going for his double drop. Oh no, I wasn't able to repair in time. ByuN gets supply blocked. Cancels for a second time as well. And Max actually spots it. He spots the drop. Thankfully, ByuN does unload. Stim is ready. Stim is ready. Max actually getting a 4th base behind this as well. Hear the Widowmine blue with the mule cooldowns. I don't think that was intentional. I did see that. You're referring to when the Widowmine borrowed, he muled at the same time, and then the Oracle came in. I don't think that was intentional, but it did line up really nicely for him. Did notice that. Catching it 1, 2, 3. So, Jesus, getting 4 Stalkers. Oh my god. And MaxPax is punished. At the same time, getting ready for a surround. The tank is exposed. He's diving in. And nice spread of the Zealots. Tank falls, and ByuN is being forced back. He will lose the factory-based army. The Widowmines, the tanks. ByuN has to get the hell out of here. Has to pull away. Again, a brutal surround. Oh, and now ByuN has to race back home to his 3rd. Let's race back over. And MaxPax behind is not going Storm first, this time going into Colossus. So 2nd rover is on the way, going to mass Colossus production. Force Field's trying to lock down the army. MaxPax has to pull out. Does pull out, does pull away. ByuN keeps up with the Zealots. And I would say that there is a power spike here available for ByuN before there are too many Colossus. I believe this is the first one. Yeah, the first Colossus has arrived, so there's only one. ByuN can try to break this. Lurks in. Ah, there's Zealots. Yeah, there's Zealots to defend. ByuN has to respect it. Pull away. Zealot run by does get across the map and doesn't get much done. Delays reinforcements. Nice defense by ByuN. Getting his 4th CC. And MaxPax taking another base. Oh, there's another high yield base here. I forgot about that. Another high yield expansion here in the center. Very valuable here for MaxPax. So he has another boosted economy. And again, just to reiterate, just like on Winter Madness, whenever there's bases like this, whenever there's bases that have either gold minerals or high yield gases, this benefits the Protoss more, just because it's common that they have map control. And ByuN doesn't, right? ByuN, he's like turtling back at home, he's defending. ByuN most likely has to expand away from the opponent, not towards the Protoss. So ByuN establishing this base is going to be, it's not going to happen. It's not, yeah, as you can see, he has to expand away from MaxPax. So MaxPax will be the first to max out. And we have a bit of a lull. Yeah, the aggression has subsided. ByuN had to back off. And MaxPax is getting comfortable again. As MaxPax, he's maxed. He's maxed out. He's got his 4 Colossus. As I mentioned previously, there was a window in time where ByuN could maybe try to break MaxPax early when he only had 1. So there's 5. Let's get 4. I saw another dropped in. So 4 Colossi. We have the prison towards the left. Zealot run by. Storm is done. And MaxPax has a terrifying army. Storm zones away. Zealots say do come in for a backstab. Oh. Not the best storm so far. More warpins. Oh, ByuN is being zoned away from his own expansion. He's being zoned away. Gets 1 Colossus. Gets 1 Colossus, gets a 2nd Colossi, not bad. Vikings, they pick off 2. As ByuN, he's being spread apart. So far, he's keeping up. How many ghosts? 2. Oh, not many ghosts here, not many EMPs. ByuN, he has to wait a little bit longer. He has to buy more time for his ghosts. That's a lot of Vikings. 12 Vikings? You can definitely argue too many. Too many Vikings here for now 1 Colossus. Zealots, they catch the reinforcing ghost. No! That's what ByuN was waiting for. He was waiting for the ghost. He will lose 2 ghosts. 2 out of 3 go down. Ay, ay, ay. Ah, that is brutal. So he's denied his EMPs. He still has 2 ghosts for the main army. Lands 1. Lands 1 EMP. But the storm once again turns away. Zealots, they try to catch more reinforcements. MaxPax does dive in. And again, he can afford to. Like right now, MaxPax is up, what, 40, 50 supply. His goal here is to poke in, trade Zealots, and then pull away. And ideally, only trade out Zealots. Then he can back off, replenish, and keep trading. And just keep ByuN down. once again, nice EMPs, but here come the High Templar. Ooh. Yeah, 2 Templar get caught. Colossus count gets reset. Who will lose every single Colossus? The Vikings! Yeah, Vikings overextend. Massive overextension, and that's going to be 1 Viking surviving that. And what does that mean? That means that now you can go back into Colossus. Yeah, back into triple Colossus production. Ay, ay, ay. And remember, from 12 down to 1 Viking. And ByuN, if he doesn't start Viking production soon, then the Colossus are going to reign supreme. Oof. Storms are connecting. ByuN, he commits a little bit too hard here as Zealous, they do push into the natural. Oh, pulling away. Colossus are about to pop out. And still 0 Vikings. Yeah, 0 Viking production. This is one of the dangerous things that you have to keep an eye on as Terran, is that if you do end up losing your Vikings, you have to be on top of replenishing them. Otherwise, this happens. Where now there's going to be a big power spike from MaxPax, and there isn't going to be as much to counter that. MaxPax is moving in. And now he has so much less to worry about. Yeah, so much less. CMP will lose a ghost. Zealous said to hit the 4th. ByuN is in position. He will defend. MaxPax, he's just waiting for the extra warp in. Getting him to 200. Now he starts Vikings. Like, now he realizes, like, oh. He's like, hold up. What happened to my Vikings, Pappy? Now he begins. But MaxPax is already here. Again, there are some nice EMPs, but there's no follow-up. Oof. Yeah, the lasers are brutal. Storm on the ramp. Going for the planetary. Planetary does go down. Yeah, down to 4 bases. Thankfully, did take a fresh mining base at least. Oh, that's actually his natural. He floated over. Getting a little bit desperate. Now he's up to 4. Sorry, 7. 7 Vikings. But we're pushing in. Ooh. Catching transferring workers. There we go. 1 Colossus is finally going to go down. He gets 1. The storms are landing. Brutal. So now he rushes through the storms. He takes it to the face. And with that, GG gets called. GG gets called. MaxPax will take a 2-1 lead in the series. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Again, ByuN, he was holding his own. He was holding his own for a time, and then the game did slow down. As we mentioned, I did notice in the chat like crazy that ByuN is down 20 workers as well here. As we mentioned before, these larger maps, they do benefit Protoss quite a bit. That's why we mentioned that 10,000 feet was going to be the best map here for ByuN to really pop off. On these larger maps, it's much easier for the game to slow down. For the game to slow down, for the Protoss to mass expand, and especially on Celestial Enclave and on Winter Madness, that we did point out, there are those like more beneficial bases that do benefit the Protoss more with the high yield gases. So you have extra gas, you have more, you're a lot more comfortable, able to mass expand. ByuN, I don't think he dealt any economic damage that game. I don't think he killed, maybe he killed a couple of workers in the beginning, a couple, but there was very little harass going on as MaxPax had map control, and from there he snowballed out of control. ByuN was still holding his own for a time, which was impressive until that one big moment that we did try to highlight, of course, when he lost 11 Vikings, right? He killed all the Vikings, sorry, he killed all the Colossus, and then the Vikings, they moved commanded forward. He lost 11 Vikings in one fight in a couple of seconds, and he didn't replace them. And then we saw that big power spike with the Colossus of MaxPax. GG. GG, well played. And now we're getting into game 4. We're going to be loading into Throne of the Dunes, another one of these larger maps. Oh boy. Here we go. As spawning in the top right hand corner of Throne of the Dunes, we have the Danish Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing Sidestorm Gaming. It is MaxPax. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the red Terran representing Shopify. It is ByuN. Here we go. Ooh, and welcome to Throne of the Dunes, another very large map in the map pool, longer rush distance by ground. I will say that the bases here are they're a little bit more spread out compared to Celestial Enclave. That is true, they're a little bit more spread out, but for the most part, your natural, your third base, your fourth base are pretty well secured. Thankfully, there are no high yield expansions here, that is true, but what I will say is you can take this forward base. We did point this out in our review, if you remember. You can take this forward expansion, and with this forward base, you can defend the alleyway on the right hand side and take your fifth base that much easier here behind it as well. So there are different ways that you can expand, that you can secure yourself. We'll see what ByuN can get done early on. Double gas opener here out of ByuN, going for a faster factory, and we'll see if he can pop off. We spoke last game about how Celestial Enclave, it is really awkward to be aggressive with Blink Stalkers, so MaxPax didn't open Blink, he opened Stargate. Went for the Stargate opener, he got shut down, but that did make sense on Celestial Enclave to go Stargate instead. Here, I will say that the main base and the natural are more accessible. Here, it's a little more natural to kind of harass the main and rotate over. I will say that the entrance into the main base is a little bit smaller, as you can see here, because of the terrain, because of like the vases, because of the like vanity objects here. It means that there's only one way into the main base if you're going for Blink aggression, so the main base is more secure. On other maps, this entire area would be accessible, whereas here, like specifically this area towards the ramp, is a little bit safer, like intentionally with those objects. So Stalkers, they have a little bit less room to blink. And I mean, that I doubt that'll stop MaxPax. I mean, oh, as we're going for the high ground CC. Early tech lab on the factory is what I did take note of here. This time, no Reaper Hellion aggression. Let's go. Going into reactor Marine, saving his gas for the tech lab, and opening up with the early Cyclone. From here, ByuN is setting up. So from the early Cyclone into early tank production, thanks to the early tech lab. So this is again earlier than normal, is what I should say, when it comes to tanks being produced. And this can lead into a medevac into early tank drop. We're going for the medevac. Okay, so hyper aggression early on here by ByuN. He's going for the drop. Reaper picks in. Dives into the main base, and he does scout the tech.
Upgrade complete.
We have 2 gateways in the main base. We have 1 gateway at the natural, so 3 gate blink. Safe opener here, safe standard opener out of MaxPax. And we're waiting for that medevac. Oh, okay, he's not moving out with the tank, just the Marines. So he's building up his tank count. He's only dropping with Marines, not as committed here as we assumed, or as I assumed. So some light aggression. And MaxPax is going to counterattack. He's got his Robo, he's got his Prism. Oh boy. Now again, thankfully the tank count is really quick and really early for ByuN. He's even getting a Viking that'll also help zone away the War Prism. So I feel like ByuN should be pretty secure here. He's got his tanks, got his Viking. Third tank is on the way, bit of a supply block. Here comes the MaxPax's move out. Now, because ByuN moved out with his Marines, that means he has that much less to protect his tanks. True. So his tanks are a little bit more vulnerable here. That is a bit of a concern. We'll see if it pays off. Ah, there's an opening here in the natural. Like, there's no safety bunker. We'll see how MaxPax approaches. He spots the tank. He's going to check the main. Oh, gets baited in. Nice moves with the Cyclone. Baits in the Stalkers. It's the third tank covering the production. And again, ByuN seems pretty secure here. And he is. MaxPax, he expands, he's taking out. We have Charge on the way, Storm on the way as well. As you mentioned, like this 2-base setup here on Throne of the Dunes is more defendable, is more secure, and MaxPax cannot get in. Nice catching the Observer. Observer goes down. Drop is still out there. Once again, trying to bait the army within tank range. And we so far haven't thrown down extra Raxes, but ByuN, he's committing here to his move outs. Uh-oh. Okay, he's got his 3 tanks. Stim will finish by the time this army gets across the map. He gets spotted. You see MaxPax always ready for the backstab. Prisma's moving in. ByuN, he has some defenses. Okay, should be fine. Okay, should be fine. Ooh. We'll lose 2. 3 SCVs. This also delays the push, as ByuN has to turn everything back around. And remember, he's not all in, he's expanding. It's only on 3 Raxes, so he's going for his 3rd CC. ByuN is moving out. He does have a pretty terrifying army, but at the same time, MaxPax, he delayed, and Storm is already done. Uh-oh. Storm is ready. Tanks are caught unsieged. Storm on the tanks. Alas, we'll back up. But he does force the siege. Tanks are down to less than half HP. Oh, there's a recall into the main. That Marine drop came into play. 9 probes. Very nice. 9 probes go down. It was worth it. High Templar exposed. He gets 1 Templar. There's 4 left. Can he get up the ramp? Oh, no shot. That's a very narrow ramp. 1 Storm would shut this army down. He has to rotate over. Speaking of storms, oh, on the Widow Mines. Mine does on burrow. Does pull away. Prism into the main. ByuN, a bit of an F2. He pulls back. There's an opening. Do we get a storm on the tanks? Not quite. Not quite, but SCVs are going down. Brutal damage in the main base. Losing 8 SCVs. ByuN is trying to push forward. Here comes the Storm. Get Storm on 1 on 2 tanks. They'll take him in from behind. And ByuN is going to get swallowed up here. He'll lose every tank. Has to get out of here. Does pull away. We have flanking Stalkers coming in. Oh no, the full medevac. He gets it. Oh my god. Full medevac goes down. 2 full medevacs. GG gets called as ByuN is intercepted. And MaxPax, he will take the series 3-1. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations, MaxPax. He will take the series. He will be this week's PiGosaur Cup champion. A shout out to ByuN though, because this final game was back and forth, right? The game on Throne of Dunes, ByuN had a really secure 2-base setup. He was able to shut down the Blink Stalker aggression of his opponent. The Zealot run by the Zealot harass didn't really do much either. And ByuN, he had a very nice and really patient, really successful drop into the main. Remember, it was early on. It was early on where he had the 1-1-1 opener, where he went for the fast medevac, fast tank production. He had his full medevac full of 8 Marines, and he was outside of the main base for so long on MaxPax. He was outside of MaxPax main base for so long. Eventually he went in once he started pushing across the map, and he got 9 probes. That was very nice damage by ByuN. He got 9 probes across the map. He was able to push in. He was able to catch a High Templar as well. But as you saw, the original plan of ByuN was to try to force his way in between the natural and third and wedge himself in between the bases and go for a kill, go for more damage at least. But here on Throne of Dunes, that ramp coming into the natural is so narrow he couldn't push up, so he had to settle for rotating down to the third base. In my mind, this shows a little bit, I mean, it shows, again, as we mentioned at the start of the broadcast, a bit of the inexperience when it comes to these new maps, right? Like what you can do, what you can't do. So he could not threaten pushing up that ramp. He had to rotate down instead, and he couldn't really get close enough to the third base to do anything with the army. So in the end, the push had potential, but didn't really amount to anything, and you saw him punished towards the end, right? He lost all the tanks, and he also lost all the medevacs, all the marines, lost everything. GG. GG, well played. So he had some really nice setup there, but in the end, the overall move out the push did fall on its face, and MaxPax did snowball from there. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations to MaxPax. Congratulations. And my condolences to ByuN. When was this played? Last week? It was played last week, I want to say. PiGosaur, if not 2 weeks ago, but yes. So we were just catching up on our PiGosaur replays again this week. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. This week is going to be PiGosaur Cup 57. That's on Friday, and we should be able to cast that live. For PiGosaur Cup 55, unfortunately we were unavailable, so I wasn't able to cover that at the time. Fun fact: it was actually clashing with my birthday. It was it was on the 29th of October. So I did take the day off from casting. That's why we didn't cast PiGosaur Cup on the 29th. Just as a heads up. So just catching up with those matches. And the next PiGosaur Cup, it will be live casted here on the 14th of November on Friday. Just as a heads up, that is the next PiGosaur Cup. Again, this is a weekly tournament. Typically, it's around at this time slot. Typically, it's a more of an NA and Korean-friendly tournament. But there are some D-Gen Europeans that stay up until this time to compete. Stay up even longer, actually. For example, right now it's like, what, 3 a.m.? European time. Sorry, it's 1 a.m. But the tournament ends like 4 hours from now, from like this time. So typically you have players like MaxPax, Clem, Geralt, Nicaract, Shameless. Those are the typical like D-Gens that stay up until like 4 or 5 in the morning to compete in this tournament, which is crazy. It's crazy. But shout out to some of the few key Europeans that do compete in PiGosaur Cup. Again, it's intentionally, of course, not meant to favor that kind of time zone, but again, it does benefit those that do decide to stay up that much longer. It's a little bit more towards like NA and Korean friendly time. But GG, well played. And again, it was great to experience all of these maps as well. Fun fact, the Team Liquid map contest voting has concluded, and the results are in. The top 3 maps were indeed Mothership, Celestial Enclave, and 10,000 Feet. Those are the top 3 maps. These 3 maps are confirmed to be a part of the new map pool, and we should be getting the new map pool this week. We should be getting a new map pool this week. And remember, it's going to be a new 1v1 map pool and 2v2, 3v3, and 4v4 map pool as well. We're getting a new map pool for all the formats of the game. So look forward to it. I do look forward to it. I say it's either like this week or it's released this week or it's revealed this week. It's one of the two. One of the two. And we have confirmation as well. It's going to be 9 fresh maps. There was, if you remember, there was a Reddit poll, Reddit voting. This was like a month ago, I want to say, which did ask the community, hey, do you want like 7 new and 2 old, or 9 new and 0 old, or like what kind of combination like of new and old do you want? And I think in the end did settle on 9 fresh maps. So it's going to be exciting. But otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks so much for the support. We do appreciate it. And with that, we're going to be going on a short break. Because this broadcast was a little bit shorter. That means we have some time for viewer replays. We have a submitted viewer replay in the chat from the chat. We'll be jumping into that momentarily to get into a ZVT matchup. So we're going to be going on a short break. But otherwise, if you enjoyed this tournament, again, this is a weekly tournament. Every single week we have PiGosaur Cup. It is sponsored by Pig, and it is run by Stegosaurus. That's why it's PiGosaurus. That's why that name comes together. So much love to Stegosaurus. He's a very passionate fan of StarCraft, very passionate. And even before Pig was sponsoring, it was called the Stegosaurus Cup. It was called the Orsasaurus Cup before that as well, with different sponsors. So he's been running it for a long time. Shout out to Pig for stepping up and actually sponsoring the event. So big shout out to Pig. And again, I think Pig is still in the Americas at the moment. Sorry, in Canada at the moment, as he went to Canada for Stellarfest. But I believe he should be coming back at the end of the week or next week. I don't know how long he's staying. That'll be around the corner. Otherwise, we're going to be going on a break. And we'll see you guys soon for a bit of a cheeky replay cast. See you soon. See you soon. Bye. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to something a little bit different, something a little bit special here. Welcome back to not a professional game of StarCraft, but welcome back to a viewer replay cast. For those that are curious, if you yourself want your own replay casted and redeemed here on the channel, you can do so via channel points. As you can see in the chat, we do have a way for you to redeem your channel points. I think it's 10k. I think it's 10,000 channel points to have us cast one of your replays, and we do have a replay redeemed a couple of weeks ago. We just didn't have the time, the opportunity to cover it, but today we had a bit of a shorter broadcast as we had less replays available for PiGosaur Cup, so we have some time to jump into a cheeky viewer replay cast. Once again though, this is a viewer, this is a fan in the chat, not the most professional player, not like GM or anything like that, more of an up-and-coming player. He's been improving a lot as a player, I will say that. I remember when he was, I want to say like around gold, maybe like at the beginning of the year, and has been slowly improving. He has been very regular when it comes to the amateur tournaments that we run as well, and we'll see how he does fare off and compare here as we load into our 1v1 on Percival. Let's go as we load into a ladder game. Here we go. Bienvenidos, as we are jumping into our game, and spawning in the bottom hand corner we have the South Korean Terran. We have our ladder opponent. I can't read Hangul, baby. Hold on. Where's my phone? ¿Dónde está mi teléfono? Hold on. This one is just like his name. It doesn't translate to anything. It says Star Kenny. Oh, Star Kenny. Okay. Let's go. And spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the blue Zerg player, with the blue Zerg player himself. From the chat, it is Ragnar, the Australian Zerg. Un momento, papi. The blue Zerg player. Here we go. Okay, we're jumping into our ZVT, and so far, first things first, we are going to be opening up hatch first. So hatch first opener here out of our Zerg player, going hatch pool, looks like, going into a bit of a delayed gas geyser from our blue Zerg. Meanwhile, we have a double gas opener out of our Terran player. Already we're being a little bit quirky here, we're mixing things up. Let's go. Let us go. So again, delayed gas. We might see even a gas-less opener out of our Zerg player and go for a faster third base. I would say it is risky and unsafe to do so here on Persephone. There are better maps to that, and is just going for a later gas. Okay, later gas, a later link speed, earlier queens. So we have a bit of a diverse opener here by Ragnar. Meanwhile, across the map, again, double gas going to a faster factory. This is unusual. This is rarely seen, at least at the competitive level of TVZ. It is standard, it is meta to go for a faster economy, to go for the faster natural, as it is difficult to really get much early game damage done by going for the faster factory due to queens, due to early lings, and due to the Overlord scat as well. So you can easily see what's coming. Overlord does confirm the faster factory and the fact that there's no CC. So upon seeing this, we should be seeing safe play out of Ragnar, prioritization of queens, of course, and not being overly greedy. I want to say you can probably still get away with a third base with this, but you do want to keep an eye on any kind of move outs. You want to keep an eye on any one base all in. Yeah, one base all in. Okay. So one base all in out of our red Terran. No command center, no CC whatsoever. This is where it's on Ragnar to try to confirm either with the Overlord or with Lings, right? Right now we have some Lings, and based on what we're seeing across the map, we don't need these Lings back at home to defend. The Queens are here. So if there's a Reaper, for example, the Queens are perfectly fine. So there's a lot of value in moving out early on with a handful of Lings to try to get a read on what's happening. Now we get the Lings moving out. There's a little bit late here for Ragnar, but is at least moving out. He confirms that there was no Reaper, that Marines have popped out instead. And Ragnar, he needs to confirm what's going on. For all he knows, this could be a BC rush, right? This could be Fusion Core into BC. This could be Hellions into a Hellbat push. This could be early tank push with Bio. This could be Banshee play. Like, there are so many possibilities as to what this could be, and we need to scout soon. Or we should be scouting right now. Lings, they pull back. Oof. And it is worth, like, throwing away an Overlord here just to confirm, just because it's better than just dying, right? It's like... Oh, as we're going for double gas opener 111 into double expand. So this is not a one base all in. This is hyper committed and very delayed economy. Ragnar did delay his own third base, so economically Ragnar, he's not as far ahead as he could be. And also, this is an insanely fast lair. Jesus, this is what, like a 320 lair timing? Ay, ay, ay. Late link speed because of the late gases, if you remember.
You're engaging the opponent.
We have Cloak on the way. Cloak is scouted. As the Viking is hunting down the Overlords. Oh, we do have an excess amount of Overlords on the map. So the Viking will get even more value. Ragnar is supply blocked. And again, this fast lair doesn't really make any sense here. This was a big investment. If you're going for a 320 lair timing, the thing that makes the most sense is going 2-base Muta. But we don't really have the economy to sustain 2-base Muta. And we're going for a Baneliness as well, so... this happens at lower levels, right? We have just these weird and quirky builds that are inefficient and some wasted resources here and there for both players, really. Here we go, getting into Quick Banshee, going for the Armory. Okay, okay, we're kind of leaning in towards like a Banshee Hellbat push, but this is less committed because of the third CC, right? Like, if it wasn't for this third command center, we could afford like a second factory for extra Hellions, for extra Hellbats. Like, this could hit so much harder if we didn't take a third CC. So, kind of a quirky setup here. If you're going for a lair this quickly, then may as well morph into an Overseer just to rescout. So again, if you're getting a lair, may as well make use of it. Should be an Overseer, should be scouting, should be checking the bases just to confirm, just to even get eyes on the third CC, or the fact that this is mech. As I mentioned before, Ragnar did overextend with these Overlords. Typically, you only send out at most 2 Overlords to scout across the map. The rest should be close by at main attack paths and can also be pulled back once you confirm that there's a Viking. So Ragnar, he's punished quite hard. This Viking gets 4 Overlord kills. Ay, ay, ay. And again, at most it should have been 2. So brutal damage. That's a lot of Ling Bane. And this is also something that happens quite a lot. I mean, at a lot of levels of play, to be fair. But because Ragnar hasn't scouted, because he doesn't know that there's a fast third CC, because he doesn't know that production was delayed because of the economy, he doesn't know that he doesn't have to make all this Ling Bane. He could be fully saturated on 3 bases, right? We could be droning this entire time, and there's nothing to kill him. There's nothing to threaten him, really, as long as your queen count is solid, which we're also missing queens. But we're missing the opportunity to drone up here. And all just because of lack of information, lack of scouting. Ooh, as we're taking up very quickly here into the Spire and the Infestation Pit. So very late saturation at the third base. What this means is that even though the Terran player had a very delayed natural, even though they had a delayed natural, delayed expansion, because of the lack of droning from the Zerg, the Terran player is not too far behind economically. They could be muling. True, we're holding onto a lot of energy here. So, could be better here for the Terran with mules. Behind this, of course, going to mass mech. Meanwhile, we do have a potential Hive Tech, Spire play as well. This is where suddenly the scouting is now important for the Terran. Oh, and the Banshees was scouted earlier. No Spore. No Spore in position. Drones are going to be going down, and brutal damage here. But what's important is that because the Terran player didn't scout, and you could argue here that there's plenty of energy for scans, he doesn't know that there's mutas on the way. And right now, nothing shoots up. I think there's 1 Viking, right? There's 1 Viking, there's like 2 Marines. So anti-air is non-existent. The game could just end with mutas. Could just end. And now that's on the Terran's lack of scouting, as there's plenty of energy for scans. Basically, everything in this game comes down to just lack of information for both players. Like, we're both just playing blind, Pat. We're just playing blind. Ay, ay, ay. Speaking of, he scans the army, he confirms the mutas. Jesus, speaking of scan. Pappy, do you know we can mule? We have the capacities to mule, Pappy. Oh my god. Scans, they confirm the mutas at least, so now we can start some anti-air. There's still none, by the way, but we should be beginning Thor production. There we go. Thors are on the way. I would say that this is also now on Ragnar. When you're going into mutas like this, like so much is reliant on hiding the mutas and having them be a surprise. These mutas, when we saw those scans, they should have already been in the bases, right? They should be harassing. Right now, there's still no anti-air. Right now, they can still be doing damage, but Ragnar is just very passive, very defensive here, and he's missing the opportunity to deal damage with these mutas. I assume that was the point of them, right? To get into mutas, to catch your opponent off guard, but we're missing that timing. We're missing that window. And as a result, the game is continuing. Whereas there was otherwise opportunity for damage earlier. There's a lot of opportunities here. But now there are Thors, and now those opportunities have kind of been wasted. From here, we're going to the Hive. Technically, this can still lead into a Greater Spire into Broodlords. The economy is still lackluster to be able to afford that, so we got a lot of droning to do to be able to afford Broodlords. But that may be the tech of choice, especially against Mech. I will say that I don't think Ragnar has confirmed Mech is the issue. He has a Changeling. Okay, he knows. Changeling in the main base. He's fully aware of the Mech. And we should be seeing a Greater Spire and alongside Infestors. Ooh. We have more mutas on the way. It's a bit of a concern. Like, the time for mutas at this point has kind of come and gone. Jesus, that's a lot of turrets. We have too many turrets here as well, so we have our Terran player trying to turtle up and being a little bit inefficient in doing so. We have more Ling main muta. What was the high for Pappy? As he starts +2 instead of the Greater Spire, going into more mutas. Now, technically, these mutas can still do a lot of damage depending on where the Thors are. So the Thors, they're rallied here in between the bases. There's a lot of turrets, but the mineral lines aren't really protected. The mineral lines are safer in the natural, but I can't say the same for all the mineral lines. As mutas they finally poke out. They can maybe get a couple of tanks. Oh god, oh no! Yeah, he gets caught out by the Thors. And again, we have to stop muta production. We're going into Ultras, okay. I mean, Ultras, they can still work. Especially with the new Infestor, with the new Microbial Shroud, right? Ultras with Microbial Shroud can still excel. They can still do well here. There is potential, bearing in mind that you have to research Microbial Shroud. That is an upgrade that has to be researched, so that's another factor. Which we aren't seeing yet. There's us settling in. Vipers are on the way. I mean, that'll help. But I feel like this army is still very much so lacking for Ragnar. How are the Ultras better with the new Microbial Shroud? If you're unfamiliar with the changes, Microbial Shroud previously would only help against against air units. So you'd throw down the Shroud and it'll do half damage from like Sky Toss and from Banshees, for example, just anything in the sky. With the new Shroud, it has been changed now to ranged attacks. So that does help against tank shots, for example. So tank shot damage will be halved, which is pretty huge. Meanwhile, Hellions, they get caught out. See, nice connections. Hellions get caught. Ooh, only 3 Thors. And Thors, can they hold their own? Sorry, 4 Thors. Yeah, they do. So Thors, they hold their own. They shut down the mutas. They shut down Ling Bane. Terran can keep pushing, but we have a remax of pure Ling. And this is where the Hellions are necessary here. Tanks and Thors, they're robust, they're tanky, they're amazing, but Lings can shut this down. We need Hellions. Need Hellion reinforcements. Thanks to know that. Yeah, it's all good, it's all good. It's a new change. The patch was maybe a month ago. But now Microbial Shroud is useful. That's actually useful. But here, Lings, they will clean up. Again, Lings, they counter tanks, they counter Thors. This is why Hellions are necessary to support the army. As now they arrive, but too late. Right, they arrive too late. They clean up all the Lings, the damage already done. And the Ultras are coming. When it comes to the upgrades, unfortunately 3-3 has not begun, so Ragnar, he's neglecting his 3-3 upgrades a little bit here. Upgrades are neglected, but the ultras have arrived. And this is where our Terran player is going to be struggling. Now, how do you deal with a Lingbane Ultra here when it comes to a mech-based army? Well, ideally, you go Tank, Thor, Liberator, and the perfect mech army actually does incorporate Ghost at the end, right? So you have Tank, Thor, Liberator, Ghost as the ideal late-game composition. I will say a high Thor count can actually trade decently well against the Ultra. It kind of depends what we're working with here. Do we incorporate Blinding Clouds? Do we incorporate Microbial Shroud? Do we have Link main support? We'll see. We'll see how the armies engage. There we go. 3-3 has not begun for Ragnar. Second Spire, interesting. Maybe thinking about Broodlords. This time there are some Hellbats. Yes, now we're going to be collapsing in. Ultras, they try to break through. Massive tank shots going up. It's going to be close. As we're down to 4 Ultras, down to 2, down to 1, and the Ultras are all cleaned up. So again, pushing into pre-siege tanks was brutal. But now here come the Ling reinforcements. There are 3 Hellbats. Oh. And they will barely protect. Just barely. It's not like Darkstorm in StarCraft 1. It's similar. Not as potent as Darkstorm. Like, Darkstorm is crazy. Darkstorm is crazy good, but it is more similar to it, for sure. It's actually useful. We're not committing in. We have 14 14 more Ultras on the way. Let's go. Even without spellcasters, 14 Ultras, that should be more than enough. A bit of an anti-timing as 3-3 doesn't get done, but the Ultras, they will overwhelm. Clean up the tanks, they get on top of the Thors. And at this point, we can just A-move. We can just A-move across the map. There's not much of him to defend. We have a greater Spire on the way, but honestly, we don't have to wait for Broodlords. We can just send it, Pappy. We can attack. Have some confidence. I mean, it would also help if we had some Larva to work with, and if we could re-max. So our macro is slipping up a little bit here. 6 more Ultra. We're just going pure Ultra at this point. Oh, the Ultras. And Ragnar is maxed. He's not maxed out. If Ragnar is too passive, then he can give the Terran player time to build up once again, to secure themselves. As he's making 6 Thors at a time. And Ragnar is being passive. Yeah, he's being passive here. So the Terran will max out as well. Like, so many of these bases are so exposed. Unlike how you typically set up here, there's no sensor towers, right? There's no sensor towers, there's no tank lines, there's no SimCity either. Like, if this army were to rotate to any of these bases, like, the bases will just go down. Like, there's there's nothing to protect them. But again, Ragnar's being very passive. So this is allowing the Terran player to get away with having nothing defensively and taking more bases. Ragnar finally does move out, but again, very delayed. So does the Terran. See who catches who. Missile goes off. Decent connection. Tanks are moving in. Now, if the Terran can siege up in time, and if we see once again the Ultras rush into the siege tanks, then we could see the Terran take the fight. But once again, it depends on the angle of attack. Ultras are coming in from the right-hand side. Tanks do siege. And they get spotted. Yeah, the Ultras are rushing in. Oh, and massive tank shots are going up. Ultras, can they break through? A good half of them have already gone down. Yeah, it looks like, I mean, it's still so close here. Down to 5 Ultras. Down to 3. Down to 1. They get a very clutch fight in the end. The Ultra barely comes out. Tanks, they cannot shoot, they cannot fire. And here comes a Remax. 14 Ultras. 14 more Ultras. And I'm hoping that Ragnar counterattacks. I'm hoping he doesn't just chill back home and wait again. And let the Terran play a Remax. Oh, we actually had some supply further back. That was huge. If we had these tanks a little bit further forward, that would have been a stronger fight for the Terran and maybe could have pushed into the bases. So unfortunately, some supply was left behind. Likewise, the Raven had plenty of energy as well. We could have seen another turret going off. Sorry, I meant to say anti-arm missile. That's it. Could have seen another missile going off. Uh-oh. We're gonna let the Terran Remax, aren't we? We're gonna... Oh, God. Let's go, baby. Let's go. On our march towards the planetary. There are Hellions to defend. Some of the Banelings do actually connect. Oh, that should not have happened. And now we have some Broodlords on the way. Again, I would say at this stage, this is a little bit unnecessary. Spellcasters would be just so much more useful here. Whether it's Vipers or Infestors. Either one. Meanwhile, the Terran army has Remax for the 3rd time. It's, you know what Ragnar's doing? He's doing his best ByuN impression. That's what's... Where ByuN, he would win a fight and then just not attack. And just stay at home. Despite being up like 80 supply. But this time the tanks are late to siege. This time there's nothing to protect them. The Thors are too far behind. And a much stronger fight in favor of Ragnar. He cleans up all the tanks. He can give chase. And this time he shouldn't turn around. Shouldn't turn around. No, keep going. Por favor. Keep going. And oh no. I mean, sure, we had like maxed out armies clash, but it was we had a bit of a shakier early and mid game for sure. Very shaky. In the end, the Ultras have arrived. They break through the Thors, and again, there's nothing left here for the Terran. Nothing left. Oh, the Broodlords, they're coming back. They're coming. They're making their way for us. And with that, we have our Terran player trying to make their stand in the main. Down to 2 tanks. Down to 3 Thors. And GG gets called. With that, Ragnar, he'll take the game. He'll take down his Terran opponent. GG. GG, papi, GG. Once again, something I think, and everyone can take through this, of course, even myself included, like, a lot of it did come down to lack of scouting. It goes both ways for both Ragnar and his Terran opponent as well. This is a little bit more the case at lower levels, but even as we get into, like, Masters and even low GM as well, even GM in general, lack of, like, StarCraft is so information based, like, right? It's like your lack of information, it's or the information that you're able to gather is crucial just to know when it's safe to drone, when it's safe to saturate, when you need to make an army, when you don't need to make an army, what kind of composition you have to go for as well, and also your own timings, right? It's like we spoke about this earlier when it came to the earlier Spire timing out of Ragnar. He got his Spire, he got his mutas completely unscattered, didn't do anything with them. It's like, what was the point? Where if your opponent fails to scout, fails to be ready for you, then you have a big opportunity to do damage yourself as well, because your opponent failing to confirm what you're up to as well. To be able to make more use of your mutas, to make more use of your aggression, if that's the route that you're going for. And likewise, also scouting your opponent to confirm how vulnerable they are, what they're going for, and kind of where they're at their weakest as well. So it does feel like, again, that goes both ways for both players, where we were working with a lot of incomplete information. At times we were playing completely blind, and that led into some more tentative play, where otherwise we could have seen something more decisive from either player as well. But GG, well played. In the end, the direction when it comes to like the game itself was solid. Like taking him into Hive, getting into Ultras, getting into Broodlords, like sure, solid. GG, well played. Mito wants life to cast even more games. Oh no. Este Mito. Nope. Un momento. But we do have another replay redeemed in the chat by Mito, by our Terran player. Un momento. Okay, we got our next game. But GG well played to Ragnar. As that leads us into our next redeemed replay. Into another TVZ. TVZ on Tokamak. Oh, okay. Getting into our TVZ. Apparently this was more of a practice game. It wasn't quite a ladder game, it was a practice game instead. But here we go, and spawning in the top right hand corner of Tokamak, we have the green Zerg player, himself. It is Ace. Not Ragnar. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have the Terran player, we have the blue Terran. It is Mito. Here we go. Welcome to Tokamak. Tokamak is one of the larger maps in the map pool. Games are known to be longer here on Tokamak, so that's kind of what we're leaning towards. But we'll see how our players do open up. This is going to be a little bit higher level than the previous games, than the previous duo, just as a heads up. So the openers should be making more sense here. Again, the openers were very shaky for both players last game, a little bit more nonsensical. Speaking of, Ace does go for a drone scout for a proxy. Interesting. This is something that you typically want to avoid here, just because of your Overlord Scout. So winding it back, when it comes to your openers as a Zerg player, you should be able to scout, if not prepare for a proxy, even if you don't see the proxy itself. This second Overlord should be rallied over to scout in this area, in this location, and then double back and get back in time to see a bunker if it gets thrown down. So this is an inefficient start here from Ace, going for the initial drone scout, and the Overlord is actually being sent across the map. Oh, okay. I mean, this is the reason why, right? This is the reason why he went for the drone scout, because he's not keeping the Overlord at home. Which is typically not done just because it's inefficient. But that's our first thing to take note of here. Like, obviously there's a reason why I did it, but now we see why. Back at home, Rax expand here by Mito. Does go for a standard opener. And again, Ace just going hatch gas pool. Just a little bit inefficient. Are we scouting it? Okay. As he moves out, we'll take his third base. Meanwhile, we're going for a second Rax. Okay, interesting. So early second Rax here by Mito. No playing standard. And Ace should be soon taking his own third. Does pull out a gas. Didn't pull out earlier, so it's going to be a bit of a delayed third base, as he had a delayed pullout. Behind this 2-1-1 at Mito. Reaper pokes in. Yeah, much later third here. So a bit of a shaky start. Ling's out of position. One drone goes down. Yeah, shaky start here from Ace, losing almost a second drone, forced to morph in the Spore. But the early game has been shaky for our Zerg player. It's been very shaky. And we'll see if he can scout the 2-1-1. If he fails to confirm what's going on, this can catch a Zerg player completely off guard. This can be a really brutal way to open up and really brutal follow-up. 2-on-1s, they do hit around 5 minutes. It's going to be a sim timing here. Sim timing, 16 Marines, 2 medevacs across the map. The Overlord does go in, and Ace, he should confirm. He should be going a little bit further in. He sees the starports. But there could have been a third CC on the way. So incomplete information here from Ace. What I will say is that these two are clanmates, so it's possible that maybe Mito always goes 2-on-1, so you can like blindly assume what your opponent's going for. This is also a factor when it comes to like whether it's ladder play or practice games as well. You might just know how your opponent plays, and even with incomplete information, you can just make assumptions and assume correctly as well. That's also going to be a factor here. But as it stands, he is lacking that information. He's making oh, that's a lot of Lings early on. We should be droning here, especially because there's no Hellion harass. That's the big issue, right? Like, because it's a 2-on-1, there are 0 Hellions, so there's no need for these Lings. These should otherwise be drones, extra queens, proper saturation in towards an early Evo chamber. Gases are now being pulled back in, and now he confirms. It's a late scout. Yeah, late scout out of Ace. If he had confirmed this earlier, then he could have droned up, but he's making so many Lings early on. And this is hurting Ace more than helping him. Here comes a 2-on-1. Third CC on location. Mito's moving out. And you could argue that he's like, this is already paid for itself. Like, oh, as Mito, he only moves out with 1 medevac. It looks like a little bit of miscontrol there. It looks like he rerouted like a rally from his Raxes, but he accidentally had his medevac in the same like selection. So delayed 2-on-1 by a couple of seconds. As we mentioned, this usually hits at 5 minutes, and we're hitting like at 5:15, 5:20. So a little bit delayed. Yeah, it hits at 5:20. Gets 1, gets 2 queens. Does he get all 3? He does. All 3 queens go down. And again, this is well worth it here for Mito. Does lose a medevac worth of Marines. That's 8 Marines going down. But this makes it worth it for Mito. Look at how many Lings were made here to defend, unnecessarily so. So Ace is further behind. He has a lot of droning to do, a lot of catching up to do. Now, thankfully for Ace, Mito got his CC on location, so this can be cancelled. Up, can he force to cancel the SCV? Up, does he get it? He does. No, it finishes. Oh no. Yeah, the CC finishes. There's no punishment here. I mean, if you remember the Lings, they were here waiting outside for like 3 seconds. Like, they were a little bit delayed by pushing in. That would have been everything. If he had killed that SCV, he could force a cancel, and then he'd be back in this game. So there was an opportunity, and he could have punished Mito. This is also on Mito, by the way. I will say this. So far, the build has been solid when it comes to the 2-on-1, when it comes to the opener for our Terran player. But there's a world where he gets punished for getting the CC on the low ground. So this was greedy. This was greedy. And he should have been punished for it. So I would say that. To be careful about getting your CC on location. It's a little bit wild. Following this, what do we have? We do have our 4, soon to be 5 Raxes. Oh, fast double factory? Oh, interesting. That I'm not too used to this. So fast second factory here out of Mito. With this, we'll be taking gases. His third base is delayed. Ace still has a lot of draining to do. He's getting for 3 base saturation. Now we see why. Double factory into a Widowmine drop. No reaction! Yeah, no reaction here. Drones are going down. That was what, 10? Jesus. Lings, they still delayed the third at least, but yeah, delayed reactions here out of Ace. 11 drones going down in total. Yeah, he's got quite a lot of catching up to do. He's going to Lingbane Muta. Oof, this is brutal. So going into Lingbane Muta requires you to have a really good economy. The reasoning for this is because mutas are quite expensive. So you do typically need momentum. You need a solid economy to be able to get away with this. Based on how this game has progressed so far, like this is a really kind of shaky kind of road to muta play, especially considering he already scouted the Widow Mines, right? Like it's already ByuN mine. So muta already has the composition he needs against mutas. So this is a really rough decision to make. And I'm not too in love with it, as muta already has all the anti-air he needs, as opposed to ideally against ByuN mine, Hydras and Lurkers are so much better. They're so much better, so much more superior against that kind of style. That's when you force the Terran to make tanks, right? You force the Terran out of Widow Mines into tank production by going Hydra. So Ace is kind of playing into what muta already has. Let's get another queen. At this level, it might also be that maybe Ace, he always just enjoys Lingbane Muta, and that's what he always plays. But being inflexible as to what your opponent's doing, it can hurt you. Oh, going Corruptor. Okay. We're going full Heart of the Swarm on this one. If you remember, back in the day, back in Heart of the Swarm, it was actually meta. It was actually viable to go Lingbane Corruptor instead of Lingbane Muta. If you remember, Dark was very fond of it. Dark back in the day. Just because Corruptors, they're tankier, so you can make only a handful of Corruptors gain control of the skies, and then have your Lingbane, like, snowball out of control. But again, as we mentioned, like, we're kind of stumbling our way into Corruptors, into the Spire tech. Jesus. So many mines. The Widow Mines are clumped up, which is a bit of an issue, which can be punished. Lingbane rolls in. But so far there's not enough Lingbane. Ace, who was out of position. Ooh, comes in too soon. Does force a bit of friendly fire. And we'll catch a full medevac. Oof. Upper mine connections. Oh no! Mine shows up popping up. Marines, they get into the bases. Oh, and that is game-ending damage. He gets the entire mineral line. Full mineral line goes down. Now it makes sense that this is not a ladder game. Like, there is a gap between the two players. It feels apparent. So we're getting into our 2-2. Building up. And again, Mito's been quite comfortable this entire game, basically. The entire game. It's been very comfortable. Widow Mines, they were preserved from the previous fight, so Mito can just reinforce, can keep pushing, can push into the bases. No splits. Oh, delayed splits here. Yeah, delayed splits out of Mito. Bane connections, they were better than they should have been, and he will lose everything here. Okay. And this is what Ace is relying upon here. He's relying on Mito to make mistakes. No detection, unfortunately. We have 5 overseers on the way. But like, these are the ways the Zerg player can recover. He's hoping for some miscontrol, hoping for some rough fights. Hive is on the way. We'll see where he leads us. I would assume Ultras, just because of the upgrades. But because he already has Corruptors, then it's viable to go into Broodlords from here and go for a Greater Spire. So we'll see what the plan is going to be for Ace. Okay, thank God. I was like, where are the Overseers? There we go. Overseers come in. Mito's economy is looking brutal. He's up to 79 SCVs, getting another expansion here. Mito is ahead economically. The pressure's on Ace. Pressure is on. Hey, gets a ghost. Nice pickup. Does get a reinforcing ghost. Oh, an awkward engagement here for Ace, as he doesn't really have that much banelings. He only has 2. With good target firing, we could focus on the banelings, but even then he just kites back to the planetary. Mito is fine. Hive is done. What's the hive for? Ultras or Broodlords? What's it gonna be? Where are you taking us, Pappy? With the answer, Ultras. Going into Ultras, going into Microbial Shroud. Someone was asking about Microbial Shroud earlier, and now it's on the way here. It's gonna be an interesting addition to this army. Has a lot of potential, for sure. Has potential. Let's see if we can get there. Oh. Ooh, lack of splits. Yeah, no pre-split, no pre-spread. Let's be careful. Very nice mine connections. Oh god, all the mines! Jesus! Almost every Zergling goes down. Fungals are connecting, but where's the ground army? It's not there anymore. Yeah, it's not there anymore. Only, what, 3 banelings? And Mito, he can just keep pushing. He breaks the expansion, he can just keep on going. There's nothing to stop him. No lings, no banelings. Ultra production has begun, but ultras take a long time to produce. And Mito, he should keep pushing. Up! Keep going. There's nothing here, in fact. Keep going. He does move forward. Gets the expansion. He can get into the mineral line. 1 fungal lands, there's no follow-up. Get some marines. And now he has to back off. This is when the ultras are now arriving, but hey, took down 2 bases. Snipes 1, snipes 2, snipes all 3 infestors. We're not going to see Microbial Shroud. And now it's time to get the hell out of here. Pick up, Happy, pick up. Okay, does pick up. Does pull away. Ooh, miss rally. Uh-oh. Yeah, it does have to fix his rally. Has to get out of here. So blow away. And Ace, he's running this team. He's on a 1 base economy, essentially. He has 2 patches in the main base. He has 4 patches here at the natural and 4 patches here at the third. He has no 4th. He has no 4th expansion. So Ace, it's all or nothing. He's all in. He's all in with a good amount of ultras, to be fair. But all Mito has to do is survive. Runs into the minefield. Runs into the planetary. We should be seeing some snipes. Yeah, lack of snipes will make this more difficult for Mito. So no snipes, the ghosts are exposed. This is maybe the best fight possible, but there we go. Here comes some of the snipes. But yeah, really awkward engage there from Mito. He got like 1 snipe out of So again, that fight went as best as it could for Ace. Best fight he could have hoped for. Breaks the expansion. That should not have happened. Ah, no. Once again, the ghosts are forward. Does land the EMP. Ghosts are being shut down. But here comes some of the snipes towards the end. And Mio, he should have enough. There we go. Takes on the final ultra. Takes down the infestors, and even though Mito did lose his most important base, he still has top left. Still has a top left expansion, still has mules, still has an economy, which is more than I can say for Ace, as he just now gets his own 4th base up and running. But again, that was a really awkward fight, unfortunately, for Mito. He was lacking SimCity, but more importantly, like there were no snipes, there was no spellcasters being used. Had kind of awkward kiting as the ultras. So things got messy, so very messy. But again, I feel like the production tab tells the story here. No. I mean, Ace has larva. We can produce, Pappy. We got like 1k, 2k. Now would be the time to replenish the ultras, get more infestors. Hands off the keyboard. Oh my god. There we go. Ah, no. Feels ace, man. Smooch. I think we saw the moment that the head was in the hands. I feel like not like this. Here it's on Mido to recover economically, so that's something that we're lacking here is SCV production. He's only making 2 SCVs at a time. We should be making 4 if not 5 SCVs to quickly rebuild economically. So this is one of the big oversights from Mido. So lack of workers, despite having the bank to work with. Yeah, lack of sensor tower here towards the top side. Base goes down. Mido out of position. Oh! Jesus. And from here, we're perfecting our army, going to Liberators, going to Liberator range with the Fusion Core. There we go, here come the snipes. Gets 2.5, massive mine shots going up. Nice spread. At least until the end, as we do clump up. Nah, it's fine. Yeah, it's perfectly fine. He can target fire. Gets a final ultra. Oh no! And does spread well enough. There we go. Spreads well enough towards the end. Takes the fight. And Mido can just chill. I mean, just chill, just calm down. Liberators show up. There, I believe, are some Corruptors. Corruptors, they can respond. One, two, three. Can we get 4? 4 drones, not bad. 4 drone kills. Let's move in. One of the ghosts almost gets caught out. Oh, nice mine shots. There are 0 infestors left. And GG gets called as AC runs out of steam and Mido will take the game. GG. Whew, ay. GG, well played. Does take it. Yo, este Zerg troll in the chat. Ga, papi, ga. Bienvenidos. It's catching up. But GG, well played. Again, it was a really shaky game from Ace is what I will say. I mean, we spoke about it. Like, the early game was brutal. Mido had a really comfortable start due to his 2-1-1, due to the, I would say, inefficient setup there from Ace. Unfortunately, he failed to scout the 2-1-1 early on as well, so he had a really inefficient response. And remember, he made like over 20 Zerglings at the start of the game as well. He heavily reduced his own economy, his own drone count, his own 3rd base saturation, his own 4th base saturation as well. So it was a really shaky setup there. Likewise, going to Spire was also questionable. Like, Corruptors, they kind of had their own moments, but at the same time, he was going into into ByuN as well. So yeah, it was kind of a shaky early to mid game there, which kind of led into, I would say, Ace kind of playing from behind for most of that game. Mido was pretty comfortable throughout. There were a couple of key moments where we had some kind of rough fights. There were some rough fights, rough engagements, but overall solid play. Towards the end, likewise, you saw like lack of saturation, lack of worker production, but overall, like the overall like overarching play there was solid play. Este Mido. Sorry. No, it's fine. ¿Cuándo es la siguiente transmisión del mod de SG Brood War? No sé, en unas semanas. No estoy tan seguro. But Joselito, he's asking in the chat about StarCraft Evolution, but I don't think I have anything scheduled yet for SC Evo. At the moment, la temporada, the season of StarCraft Evolution is, we're now in the off season. We're in the off season, so there aren't as many SC Evo tournaments at the moment, at least until the next season starts up again. So less SC Evo tournaments at the moment. So hello, Andres Duran, papi. Hello, bienvenidos. Penelope, the Paranoia Scout. He knows me well enough to know I can and have cheesed him multiple times. I see. Spend all my points on crew, please. True. But otherwise, that is going to be us wrapping up here. It's going to be us wrapping up, for the time being. Us wrapping up here for the time being, as we have concluded our broadcast. We covered the PiGosaur Cup earlier. Likewise, we had a couple of your replays as well, a couple of them with Ragnar, with Mito as well. But otherwise, we are going to be wrapping up for the time being. Again, a bit of a shorter broadcast today, a little bit shorter. But others wrapping up. When it comes to the rest of our schedule, we should be live later on this evening, but we might not be. So you can see here on Wednesday, we were meant to be covering the WarDTV Monday cast, but replays are delayed. So we're going to be getting replays a little bit later on in the week. So most likely we're going to be moving the WarDTV Monday replay cast to the weekend. As you can see, Saturday and Sunday we have the mornings free, so I'm most likely to be moving it over to the weekend instead. It is unlikely that we're going to get the replays in time for this evening cast, so the schedule is not entirely accurate here for Wednesday specifically. Tomorrow we should be live with the Turtle Tussle. So Turtle Tussle on Thursday morning, we have the Pondcast Thursday evening, we have the PiGosaur Cup, that's going to be a live cast. I mean, all these are live. On Friday we have MSO, we have STC. The only replay cast we have here were the WarDTV Mondays and the PiGosaur Cup, this broadcast PiGosaur Cup. Those are only replay casts. But again, I don't yet have the replays for Wardy's tournament. That should be coming in the next couple of days. So we're probably going to be pushing this back a little bit further to the weekend instead. Just as a heads up, so we might not have a cast later on tonight. If not, I mean, that means we can sleep. We can we can rest up and try to catch up on work. Try, at least try. But otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. We do appreciate it. With that, because I have the afternoon free, we are going to be having a cheeky ladder session. I haven't been able to ladder in a very long time. I'm very rusty. I think I've dropped like 500 MMR. It's crazy. it's a little bit unfortunate with how much we've dropped, but you know, now, especially with the season coming up, with the new map on the horizon, now is the time to get back on that ladder and back on that grind and try to get back up to where we once were. So I'm gonna have a cheeky ladder stream, probably not too long, but maybe a couple of hours just to stream, just a ladder, just to get some games in, of course, and to smurge, papi, to smurge. Let's go. I don't know how active the Australian ladder is at the moment, to be fair, but we'll find out together. So if you're interested, I do not ladder on the CranKy Ducklings. We do leave this channel exclusively for tournament casting and for team content as well, like the Pondcast, or sometimes we have team games as well, but we typically leave this channel exclusively for that. I do typically live stream on my personal channel instead, over on light_VIP. So if you want to follow me there, you can. The smurge is going to be real though. Let me we're very rusty, papi, very rusty. So we expect a wall of red when it comes to our ladder. But you know what? We got to shake the rust off at some point. So we'll get there. Otherwise, you can tune in tomorrow. For our next cast. Again, it is unlikely that we're going to be live later on tonight. So we'll see you guys tomorrow for the Turtle Tussle. That'll be the plan. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks so much for the support. We do appreciate it. And we'll see you guys tomorrow for some more StarCraft, or later on this afternoon in like a couple of minutes for some ladder. Otherwise, we're going to be heading off. And thank you so much. If you want to follow us, you can do so via the socials, !socials in the chat. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Discord. All things CranKy Ducklings. There we go. We do upload on YouTube on a daily basis, so plenty of content over on YouTube. It's all there. Otherwise, until then, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Ciao, papi, ciao. See you next time.